republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
So we'll get a little change in today's agenda. Lisa Deaton, you have something for the certification of the election.
So as you know, the November 7th mayor and council election was a success with a 22% turnout. I want to personally thank all the staff in the clerk's office, DPW, and police department for all their assistance. So I also want to congratulate Steve Kennedy, our new mayor, and to council members Thad Bogert, Lisa Dilg, and Maggie Kurtzwell. And so I do have the certificate of elections for each of you, so if you want to come up to the microphone, I'll swear you in again and give you your certificates. Okay.
Was I supposed to memorize that?
Okay, so I state your name,
I, Stephen Kennedy,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support the Constitution
that I will support the Constitution
of the United States
of the United States
and the Constitution of the state,
and the Constitution of this state,
and that I will faithfully discharge the duties
and that I will faithfully discharge the duties
as mayor of the city of South Lyon
as mayor of the city of South Lyon
according to the best of my ability.
according to the best of my ability. Thank you.
Here's your gift.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Councilmember Bogert? Raise your right hand and repeat after me. I state your name.
I, Thad Bogert,
Do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support the Constitution
that I will support the Constitution
of the United States
of the United States
and the Constitution of the state,
and the Constitution of this state,
and that I will faithfully discharge the duties
and that I will faithfully discharge the
as
duties
council member
as council member
of the city of South Lyon
of the city of South Lyon
according to the best of my ability.
according to the best of my abilities. Thank you.
Councilmember Dill? I state your name.
I, Lisa Dilg,
Do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support the Constitution
that I will support the Constitution
of the United States
of the United States
and the Constitution of this state,
and the Constitution of this state,
and that I will faithfully discharge the duties
and I will faithfully discharge the duties
as council member
as council member
for the city of South Lyon
of the city of South Lyon
according to the best of my ability.
according to the best of my ability.
And repeat after me. I state your name.
I, Margaret Kurtzweil,
Do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support the Constitution
that I will support the Constitution
of the United States
of the United States
and the Constitution of this state,
and the Constitution of this state,
and that I will faithfully discharge the duties
and I will faithfully discharge the duties
as council member
as council member
for the city of South Lyon
for the city of South Lyon
according to the best of my ability.
according to the best of my ability.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Lisa. Now we'll let the roll call show that all members are present. Next up on the agenda is approval of the City Council minutes for October 23rd, 2023, and November 13th, 2023. We're looking for a motion for the minutes for October 23rd, 2023. I'll move the minutes.
I'll second.
Have a motion and a second. Any further discussion regarding the minutes? City Clerk Deaton, would you lead us in a roll call vote? Yes.
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 Yes. I'll be looking for a motion for the council meeting minutes for November 13th, 2023.
I'll move the minutes for November 13th.
I'll second.
A motion and a second. Any further discussion? Lead us in another roll call vote for the minutes.
Yes.
Yes. Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Yes. Thank you. No bills this evening. We'll move on to approval of the agenda. Oh, I'm sorry. My apologies. We do have bills, yes. Oh, yeah. Approval of the bills for this evening. Councilmember Mosier.
I'll move the bills as presented.
I'll support. Have a motion and a second. Any further discussion regarding the bills? City Clerk Deaton, if you'll lead us in a roll call vote.
Yes.
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 Yes. Now approval of the agenda.
I'll move the
Councilmember
agenda.
Dillon.
I'll move the agenda as presented.
I'll second.
Motion and a second. Do we have any further discussion regarding the agenda? City Clerk Deaton?
Yes.
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 Yes. On tonight's consent agenda, we have three items: the Kiwanis Christmas tree lot, the cancellation of the December 25th, 2023 City Council meeting, and the Holiday Spectacular Parade for the road closure. We're looking for a motion to approve the consent agenda.
Mr. Mayor?
Councilmember Kurtzwell.
Thank you. I move the consent agenda as presented.
I'll second.
We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Okay, let's have a roll call on the consent agenda.
Yes.
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 Yes. Very good. We're going to open the floor for public comment. Please keep in mind it's a 2-minute time limit. There is another public comment at the latter part of the meeting. And when you come up, please state your name and address for the secretary, if you would.
My name is Patricia Hoskins. The Director of Quality Assurance for Haven. The address is 801 Vanguard, Pontiac, Michigan. I'm here today to take a few minutes of your time about the CDBG funds that's on the agenda tonight. As you know, or you may not know, Haven supports survivors of domestic violence and sexual assault. South Lyon's been supporting Haven through CDBG for many, many years. Our program enables survivors to receive free services and support to heal from the injustice of sexual assault and intimate partner violence. Most people know we provide emergency shelter, but we also provide individual and group counseling, legal advocacy, PPO, advisement and services, housing, community resources, and safe, compassionate forensic sexual assault exams for survivors of intimate partner violence. Our crisis and support line offers crisis intervention, resources, and assistance for concerned individuals and victims 24 hours a day, 365 days a year. Over the last few years, pretty much since COVID, our Victims of Crime Act and other funding, United Way, has been down, so this is more important than ever for our services to continue. In 2019, we were about 60% grant funding, 40% fundraising, and that's kind of flipped and then some. This year alone, in our fiscal year, our VOCA, Victims of Crime Act, was cut over $300,000, and more so over for all domestic violence agencies. So we had to rely more than ever on fundraising over top of the grant funding that we receive. I'm sorry, I'm not usually the person they send to speak on these things, so I apologize. So we need your help more now than ever from South Lyon and the other agencies. Oakland County, Haven is the only agency like this in Oakland County that provides assistance to domestic violence survivors. To end the cycle of violence, we must set our survivors up for success, and your support will help us do just that. But we do understand that, like Haven, you have a lot of limited resources and unlimited needs in your community. So we would like to ask that you support Haven, continue to support Haven through the CDGB funding, but we understand if that's not possible. That's all. Thank you.
Any other public comment? Okay, we'll close public comment. Move on to the discussion of downtown with the DDA Director, Nate Mack.
All right, thank you, Mr. Mayor, and good evening, council. So we've had a couple of the winter farmers markets at the VFW Hall. Those have gone pretty well. We're excited to keep those going. For those keeping track at home, the next one will be this Saturday from 10:30 to 2:30. Last week, we distributed shop small materials from Main Street, Oakland County to the businesses that are in the downtown. We received those materials as a part of a grant from Main Street, Oakland County and Genesis Credit Union. Everybody was most excited to receive the bags because they go through a lot, especially Black Friday and Shop Small Saturday. So yeah, those 2 days, I spoke to a couple of businesses earlier today, and they said they had a pretty successful Black Friday and a very good Shop Small Saturday, so that's great to hear. The Holiday Spectacular is set to take place again this Saturday, December 2nd from 4 to 6 p.m. We have visits with Santa, ice sculptures, holiday street performers, and a gingerbread treasure hunt, just to name a few of the items that will be taking place. We put up a billboard on I-96 by the Beck Road exit traveling westbound. There's 10 businesses that participated in that. That started today. They sent me not a great quality photo, but just to show that they're up. So they'll be going until Christmas Eve, I believe. So that is great. And then finally, we're going to be applying for another grant through General Motors for Main Street Communities. It's for $50,000 in hopes to acquire some more funding for the completion of Lafayette Park. And with that, I'll be happy to answer any questions.
Councilmember Hanson.
Just a quick one. The billboard, what's displayed on the billboard? Is it like the downtown logo?
Yeah, so
or?
it says Shop Downtown South Lyon this holiday season, and then it has each of the 10 different business logos that are participating in it.
Thank you.
Councilmember Tibble.
Was that solely supported by those, was it funded by those 8 or 10, whatever?
They paid for half, and the DDA paid for the other half. Yep.
And everybody was cool with that?
Mhm.
All right.
Councilmember Dilg.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I was going to switch up my normal question about the one building and ask about a different one. Do we have any information about the Lake Street Tavern building yet?
Not anything that I can go on record and talk about tonight, but I know that they are, working through some things with some people, so hopefully I'll be able to share more information in the future.
But you have been in touch with them then?
Yep.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Councilmember Hanson.
I forgot to ask earlier, the Indian store, is there any timetable as far as opening? I saw that they had a banner and that's for...
Yeah, they're still doing the build-out of their space, so I know that on the inside, they've kind of been doing some demolition and renovations in there, so it'll be a little bit yet, probably after the first of the year.
Yeah. Okay. Looking forward to it. Thank you.
Yeah, me too.
The only question I had, Nate, is any word on when they're going to repair the defective lights in downtown there?
So I contacted them last week. I'm hoping they'll get to it this week because we have our events this weekend, so.
Yeah, that'd
and
be
the parade.
great.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yep.
Moving along, we'll have the report from Fire Chief Thorington.
Mr. Mayor, Council, put my glasses this time so I can see. Makes me smarter or look older, I'm not sure. All right. We are at 1,160 incidents for the year. We had an interesting incident yesterday where a resident was putting lights on their house, got stuck on the roof. We went and helped her down, and then also finished her lights for her. So it was a
A round of applause on that.
I can't get the credit. We are hiring 2 more cadets since the last council meeting. Nicholas, I'm going to slaughter his last name, Golicher. He's a South Lyon East junior. He's in the Howell Fire Academy. And Abigail Fisher, who's also a South Lyon high school senior, and she's also in the academy. That puts us at 5 cadets right now, which is kind of our max. However, one of them will be 18 in January, and he's going to join the department as a firefighter. So.
Right.
We had a busy day on Thanksgiving, with multiple incidents, some occurring concurrently. And I want to thank our firefighters for, supporting our 2 on shift. They were on calls, and we had multiple people come in and help with the other calls going at the same time. So it was, even though it was on Thanksgiving, we had a pretty good response. So that's all I have.
Any questions for Chief Thornton? Councilmember Doug.
I just wanted to say that really played well on social media, and everybody really loved that whole story about them coming back and doing the lights. That's just, it makes South Lyon, it just shows what a great place it is to live, and really, just want to say, really appreciate it, and make sure you please tell all of your staff the same.
Will do. Thank you.
Thank you.
Councilmember Kimball.
I had seen that you guys had taken pictures of the whole crew, and I was wondering do you have a particular application that you're planning on trying to use that for a particular vehicle or something, or simply the camaraderie thing?
Picture of the firefighters?
Yes.
Yes, we have a board in the station of all of our current roster that's on there, and then usually annually we do a composite of the entire department.
I really like that idea, quite honestly. I think if somebody in the public ends up seeing somebody from the fire department doing a really good thing or something that's above and beyond, it'd be nice for them to be able to go and look at the picture and ID who the guy was, and they could end up using that to get on Facebook and really charge them up or whatever. So I think that's a great idea.
Yep, we're in the process right now of redoing our webpage, and it'll have more information with things like that on there. Yep. All right.
Thanks, Chief.
Thank you.
Moving to the police chief report, Chief Bakke.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Thank you, Council. Just got a few things for you tonight. We just hired a new cadet, Angela Bay, started the 22nd of this month. So she'll be working with us and for a few weeks, and hopefully if everything works out, we're looking at maybe making a cadet recruit and possibly police officer. And we're looking into that right now, and hopefully we'll have her in January. So we're in that process right now. Our P25 radio system switched over to all of our vehicles and all of our prep radios, so we are gone live with that. So nobody's online with that, as well as us and the fire department. And got approved for a RAP grant for Sergeant's Leadership Training class for one of our new promotions, hopefully here in the near future. And that's all I got for you tonight.
Any questions for Chief Bakke? Councilmember Kimball.
All the vehicles up and running?
Well, we're still working on that. So we have the Tahoe that's hopefully going to be in, I'm hoping, the next couple of days. And then we have another vehicle to get in. The outfitting is another problem that we're having, so they're backed up to 3-4 months. So once we get them in, we're just waiting for supplies and waiting for them to complete the outfitting.
Seems
So
to be across the board, yeah.
yes, we just got another car back from repairs, so our fleet's looking better. So hopefully next couple months we'll have them all up and running, though. Yep.
Thanks, Chief. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
We have no unfinished business, so we'll move on to new business. First item for new business is appointment of the Mayor Pro Tem.
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to make a motion for the Mayor Pro Tem. I would like to nominate Lisa Dilg for that position.
Second.
We have a motion and a second for Councilmember Dilg to fill the role of Mayor Pro Tem. Any discussion? City Clerk Deaton, if you would lead us on a roll call vote for that.
Mosier,
Yes.
Bogart,
Yes.
Dibble,
Yes.
Kurzweil,
Yes.
Dilg,
Yes.
Hanson,
Yes.
Kennedy.
Yes. Thank you very much. Next is, the city's in good hands. Next is the appointment of the SEMCOG representatives. The first is for the delegate representative, and for the benefit of the new members and refresher for the existing members, the previous members. For the delegate representative, it needs to be an elected representative for the city. So I'm looking for a motion for the appointment of the SEMCOG delegate representative. Councilmember Dilk.
I'd like to nominate Steve Kennedy, doing a great job.
Okay, so we have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Very good. City Clerk Deaton, if you'll lead us in a roll call vote.
Bogart,
Yes.
Dilg,
Yes.
Hanson,
Yes.
Dibble, Kurzweil,
Yes.
Mosier,
Yes.
Kennedy.
Yes, thank you very much. And now we'll appoint the SEMCOG alternate representative. The alternate representative can be an elected official, can be a private citizen, can be a member of an existing board or commission within the city. So I'll be looking for a motion to appoint the SEMCOG alternate representative. Councilmember Hanson.
Oh, I was
Oh, I'm
motion.
sorry. Councilmember Kibble, my apologies.
I'd like to appoint Mr. Fogarty.
Okay.
I'll second that.
Okay, so we have a motion and a second for Mr. Frank Fogarty to be the SEMCOG alternate representative. City Clerk Deaton, if you'll lead us in a roll call vote for that.
Kibble,
Yes.
Mosier,
Yes.
Hanson,
Yes.
Kurzweil,
Yes.
Dilg,
Yes.
Bogart,
Yes.
Kennedy.
Yes.
Thank you.
Well, how do you feel about it, Frank? You good? Okay, good. Okay, good.
Sure he knew about it. He's here.
All right. Item number 3, consider the CDBG application projects for the city of South Lyon.
The 2023 CDBG application deadline is Friday, December 1st, 2023. On November 13th, 2023, at the regularly scheduled city council meeting, the city held a public hearing relating to CDBG funds allocated to the city of South Lyon. The city's tentative funding allocation for 2024 is $28,356. The allocation for public service projects is limited to $4,253, which is 15% of the total allocation. Even though we receive requests from more than one public service entity, we can only fund one of them based upon the minimum and maximum limitations set forth in the CDBG requirements. The suggestion is that the city will continue to use allocation for 2024 to support the South Lyon Senior Center at $24,103 and also support this year Active Faith for $4,253. We've attached supporting material, the 2024 CDBG application information and supporting documents. Possible course of action tonight is approve or not approve the 2024 CDBG application for the tentative funding allocation of $28,356 for the South Lyon Senior Center, which is $24,103, and Active Faith for $4,253, or choose alternative funding amounts for different projects.
Councilmember Dilk.
I just wanted to say what a terrible position for us to be in, to take money and, between two organizations that really need it. Obviously, or not obviously, but for me, especially if it's a one-time thing, keeping in the city and helping Active Faith makes sense. But I just wanted to say that I know that is, I used to work in foster care and social services. I know what a terrible time it is to raise funds, and I would really like it if you'd reach out to me. I have two organizations I work with that I'd like to see if we can raise some money for if it goes toward Active Faith.
Councilmember
That's
Kurtz?
all.
I'm sorry. Are you done?
Yes, sorry.
Councilmember Kurtzwell?
Thank you. For me, it's not a difficult decision. It's a very easy decision to make. I sat on the board for many years at Active Faith, and Active Faith has many individuals in the community that support it. I think there are many businesses that have provided assistance to Active Faith just recently. Checks have been given to Active Faith by various organizations and thousands of dollars. In terms of funding that they have raised, the Women's Night also provided some opportunities for people to contribute to Active Faith. I know all the churches in the area have programs in which they are continuing to support Active Faith. And when I looked at Active Faith's application, they were asking for the grant money to support the food pantry. And that's probably the number one assistance that is provided by citizens in our community is through the food donations. My neighbors across the street, for example, the Boy Scouts, just got done doing a food drive for Active Faith. The post office does a food drive for Active Faith. School supplies are provided through Active Faith, but we also have another organization in town, Blessings in a Backpack, that also provide those kinds of opportunities. What South Lyon doesn't have is a resource for women with respect to domestic violence and sexual assault. That is something we do not have, and that's a reality in the city. Several individuals I know personally have gone to Haven House up in Pontiac. They are very confidential, very professional. It's a 24-hour, 7-day-a-week operation. And it's not just providing food and clothing. I think that is barely scratching the surface as to what Haven House does. What Haven House does is provide women an opportunity to regroup their life. And it's not just the women. It's the families and the children that have been affected by what goes on and behind closed doors and in private homes. There is no replacement for Haven House. And you're right, ma'am. You are the only service in Oakland County. And I can't imagine going out and looking women in the eye today, tomorrow, the next day, knowing that I voted against providing an opportunity to women in your organization. There will be many people in this community that will provide food to Active Faith. That's not an issue. But what is an issue is what appears to be an ongoing problem that does not seem to go away. I was very disheartened to hear that VOCA, which I have stayed on top of and following, victims' rights, $300,000 cut, that is phenomenal. That is horrible. Because I can only imagine what that's doing to your staffing and what it's doing to the services that are sorely needed. So my vote, it may not be a popular vote, but I think it's a principled vote because I think it's based on fair contributions to an organization and to a service that is sorely needed and clearly is being used by some of our residents in the city. So I cannot vote for Active Faith, but I support it 100%. I'm only one vote, but I will be voting to provide $4,253 to Haven House. And thank you for being here tonight.
Councilmember Kibble.
I had that same conundrum. I was talking with the city manager about trying to find some way that we could split the baby kind of thing. And unfortunately, the rules of CBDG doesn't allow us to end up paring it down into the little sections that we would like to. This is clearly going to end up being a very difficult thing for you guys to end up having to adjust to. I'm going to end up having to roll with going with what the recommendation is simply because we know this will end up being a one-time deal and then they're going to, but they have so many things that they're trying to accomplish with their structure of the building getting remodified so that it can actually do the task that it's being set up to be able to do as efficiently as possible. Next year, I will not turn my back on you guys again, but nonetheless, I think that we need to end up making sure that they get this year, even with all the other things that are, you know, the businesses and things that are pulling money for them, it's still a grand thing for them to make it to the end here. So I wish that there was another way to end up rolling this, but unfortunately, I think we need to end up giving them that first initial push to get them where they need to be able to operate properly, and we'll be back with you next year. So, thank you.
Well, I'm looking for, go ahead, Councilmember Kurtzwell.
In response to that, what I would say, and I don't want to misinterpret what my council member has said, but using this money to refurbish the building only provides equity to the nonprofit organization that actually owns the building. So if that is where Active Faith plans to use the money to restore a building, then I think clearly we are outside of the scope of what this community grant is really for. It is for victims. It is for people in need. To use it to fix the building only enhances the fair market value of an asset that has nothing to do with the individuals who come through the door. So that is my last comment on this issue.
Councilmember Kibble.
I need to actually react to that, because the motivation that they're doing is to end up trying to make the place as palatable and as functional as it can be to be able to transition the things that they need to do to the community, that they've already planned of all the things that they're going to try to fulfill for people that need help. It's not it has nothing to do with trying to raise the value of the building. It has all to do with the functionality of the building to their tasks. So that's all I want.
Looking for a motion and a second for the recommended motion, or a modified motion and a second. Councilmember Dilk.
I'd like to make the motion to approve the selected projects as identified for the 2024 CDBG program for $28,356 for the South Lyon Senior Center. I'm sorry, I did it wrong. CBDG program for $28,356. South Lyon Senior Center would get $24,103, and Active Faith at $4,253.
So we have a motion and a second. City Clerk Deaton, will you lead us in a roll call?
Mosier,
Yes.
Dibble,
Yes.
Bogert, Kurzweil,
No.
Dillon,
Yes.
Hanson,
Yes.
Kennedy.
Yes. Motion passes. Item number 4, Lafayette Park and Volunteer Park grading.
As part of our efforts to make further improvements to city parks, we went out for bid for grading of Lafayette Park and new fields at Volunteer Park. This first phase of the improvement of Lafayette Park includes removing concrete, asphalt, and land balancing with the installation of grass seed. And the first phase of work at Volunteer Park is to conduct mass grading and land balancing work to prepare the areas for installation of 2 new fields, and the installation also of a gravel parking lot. We received one bid for the work from Fonson Company out of Brighton in the amount of $360,127. We've attached information regarding that bid. Materials attached are a letter from our engineers at HRC outlining the recommendations for the award to Fonson Company. Possible course of action tonight is approve or not approve the award of the bid to Fonson in the amount of $360,117. Roland Alex is here from HRC to also help answer questions that you may have.
Councilmember Kibble?
The only question I have is, when do you plan on having this initiate?
It'll start right away.
It will? Okay.
Yes.
Great, thank you. Well, with that, I'll make a motion that we approve the award to bid to Fonson Company in the amount of $360,117 from 101-751-978.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. City Clerk Deaton, will you lead us in a roll call?
Hanson,
Yes.
Kurzweil,
Yes.
Bilg,
Yes.
Bogert,
Yes.
Hibble, Mosher,
Yes.
Kennedy.
Yes. Any further discussion regarding this? I have just one quick question, a separate subject. So on the CSX line that's been put under the sanitary sewer line under the CSX, has that connection been made yet, Roland?
It's been completed. I believe they have some final tuck pointing and things to do in the pipe in order to get it transferred over.
Okay.
But you do have that, the duplicity of the system now, so.
The other line is, the previous line has been relined then?
Yes. Yep.
Excellent. Okay.
Yep.
I mean, it looked good. We stopped out there, took a look at it, all the restoration, everything looked really good, so.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Yep.
Any other questions, comments? Okay, we're good. Thank you.
Thank you.
Item number 5, DPW tub grinder.
Good evening, Council. Mr. Mayor, congratulations.
Thank you.
The tub grinding project in Holloway is being set up to grind up and remove 2 large piles of brush. The piles were created from the storm that hit us here in South Lyon in August and years of storm debris cleanup. The location of the piles to be removed are at Volunteer Park and the DPW yard. The contractor will grind up materials using a large tub grinder, Holloway shredded materials. I am recommending that the City of South Lyon contract Nicolai's Contracting Incorporated to perform the tub grinding and haul away the brush materials. The funds for this project, which some hopefully will be reimbursed by the State Disaster Relief Fund, will come out of GL account 101-441-974. Materials included for you guys in the supporting documents are the quotations from Environmental Wood Solutions, Farmland Services Incorporated, and Nicolai's Contracting. Possible course of action would be award, not award, the tub grinding project to Nicolai's Contracting for $17,000 from GL account 101-441-974.
Councilmember Dilg.
Thank you. It always gives me a little bit of pause when one is really, really low. Do you have any thoughts on that, why it's so much lower?
One being really, really high was my concern. When I talked to, that guy was, one contractor was pining, as soon as this storm hit town, he was throwing cards at us left and right.
Mm-hmm.
I spoke with him, actually I spoke with all of them, took them to the piles. They all kind of had different ways of actually attacking the pile. This gentleman's, he likes to keep his iron moving. I mean, he has a big operation, and basically it's kind of be almost a filler project for him. That's why I think it's in timing. You know, he usually equipment slows down this time of year.
Mhm.
If he can keep his equipment running for a little bit longer, keep his guys from not being unemployed, or keep
Mhm.
them moving. There's a reason why he's like, I'm going to swing for the fence on this one. Is all he told me when he left me. So I don't.
You feel comfortable with
Absolutely.
with his abilities? Okay, thank you.
Absolutely.
With that, I'd like to make the motion to award the tub grinding project for the cost of $17,000 to Nicola?
Yeah. Lost.
Contracting Inc. from GL 101-441.974.
I'll second.
We have a motion and a second. City Clerk Deaton, will you lead us in a roll call vote?
Kurzweil,
Yes.
Bilg,
Yes.
Hanson,
Yes.
Hibble, Bogert,
Yes.
Mosher,
Yes.
Kennedy.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Jeff. Moving on to item number 6, Fire Department purchase of structural firefighting boots. Chief?
All right.
So this agenda item is to accept the Michigan Fire Equipment Grant for $10,000 for structural firefighting boots. The fire department budgeted uniform account will be used for expenditures over the $10,000. The award will be used to purchase 30 pairs of structural firefighting boots. There were multiple bids received, and they are below on your document there. $340 for each pair bidded by Phoenix Safety Outfitters was the low bid who met the bid requirements. For the fire materials are attached, the Michigan Fire Equipment Grant letter for approval, and a picture of the structural firefighting boots were attached. Possible courses of action are approve or deny the Michigan Fire Equipment Grant funding in the amount of $10,000 to be received and deposited into account 101-682-336. Then approve and deny the purchase of 30 pairs of structural firefighting boots from Phoenix Safety Outfitters for the amount of $10,200 from expenditure account line item 101-336-721.
Councilmember Hanson.
I had one quick question for you, Chief. With regards to the boots, just from not understanding it myself, is it like one size fits all kind of thing where it's able to be, like these 30 pairs are usable by any recruit that comes into the fire department, or?
Unfortunately, no. Only if they have the same size foot. They're all sized individually,
I wasn't sure if you were buying
Yeah.
like 3 size 10, 3 size 11, that sort of
Nope,
thing.
they're all being fitted.
Okay.
But, I mean, we will, they last for 10 years, so we will save them if somebody leaves, and if they come with the same size foot, we will reuse them. It typically, you're in that 9 to 13 range, so that they can be reused.
Excellent. Thank you, Chief.
Yeah.
Figured I'd ask.
Councilmember Bogert.
I did some Googling on the boots themselves, and the price that you obtained is really good.
If we use BidNet online, so it's a good way to get a lot of bids. Yeah.
Councilmember Hanson.
I'd like to make a motion to approve and accept the Michigan Fire Equipment Grant funding in the amount of $10,000 received and deposited in the revenue account 101-682.336, and approve the purchase of 30 pairs of structural firefighting boots from Phoenix Safety Outfitters in the amount of $10,200 from expenditure account line item 101-336-721.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. City Clerk Deaton, if you'll lead us in a roll call for that one.
Dilg,
Yes.
Mosier,
Yes.
Hanson,
Yes.
Gibble,
Yes.
Bogert,
Yes.
Kurzweil,
Yes.
Kennedy.
Yes.
Thank you.
We have another motion associated with this purchase. Be looking for a motion and a second on this one.
Mr. Mayor.
Councilmember Hanson.
I'd like to make a motion to amend the fiscal year 2023-2024 budget under account line item 101-336-721 from $19,475 to $29,475 to reflect the purchase of the 30 pairs of structural firefighting boots from Phoenix Safety Outfitters.
We have a motion and a second. And again, City Clerk Deaton, if you'll lead us in that roll call.
Gibble,
Yes.
Mosier,
Yes.
Hanson,
Yes.
Kurzweil,
Yes.
Dilg,
Yes.
Bogert,
Yes.
Kennedy.
Yes.
Thank you.
Motion passes.
Thank you.
Thanks, Chief. Don't go too far. Item number 7, Fire Department purchase of smoke and carbon monoxide detectors, combined alarms, and smoke detector alarms.
All right. This agenda item is to purchase 200 smoke and carbon monoxide detectors. They're combined alarms. And also purchase 200 smoke alarms. South Lyon Fire received a FEMA Fire Prevention and Safety Grant. City Council approved this grant award on September 11th of 2023. The grant has a 95% federal and a 5% local match. Multiple bids were obtained, as listed on the document here. Asset lighting was a low bid and met the bid requirements for both types of detectors. The materials attached for supporting documents are pictures of the alarms, both the combination smoke and carbon monoxide as well as smoke alarms. Possible course of action is to approve or not approve the purchase of 200 smoke and carbon monoxide detector combined alarms and 200 smoke detector alarms from Asset Lighting in the amount of $9,688 from account line item 101-336-740.
Just have a quick question.
Councilmember Dilk.
I just wonder, how long do you think 200 last?
Well, this is a 2-year grant.
So,
So we have 200 this year and 100 next year.
okay.
If we go through them faster, we can actually purchase them faster. I think the carbon monoxides will go faster than smoke alarms probably because we've been putting smoke alarms in the houses for so long.
Right.
But it's kind of hard to tell.
Okay.
So
Thank you.
Councilmember Bogert.
How does one go about obtaining the detectors?
once we receive them, they can call the fire station and we'll put them on a list and we'll call them and contact them and set up an appointment and we'll come out and install them in their house. Yep. We'll put that in our social media sites and whatnot as well.
Councilmember Hanson.
I'd like to make a motion to approve the purchase of 200 smoke and carbon monoxide detector combined alarms and 200 smoke detector alarms from Asset Lighting in the amount of $9,688 from account line item 101-336-740.
I'll support.
Thank you. We have a motion and a second. City Clerk Deaton.
Mosier,
Yes.
Bogart,
Yes.
Dibble, Kurzweil,
Yes.
Dilg,
Yes.
Hanson,
Yes.
Kennedy.
Yes. You're a popular fellow tonight, Chief.
Oh.
Item number 8,
All right.
Fire Department Incident Management Team, interlocal agreement.
This agenda item is Oakland County Incident Management Team. It's an interlocal agreement. Oakland County has an incident management team through MABUS 3201, Oakland County Fire Mutual Aid Association, which encompasses 30 communities. The attached interlocal agreement allows for South Lyon firefighters to become members of the team. As far as the supporting documents, the Oakland County Incident Management Team interlocal agreement between Oakland County and the City of South Lyon, and the City of South Lyon resolution to approve interlocal agreement with Oakland County for participation in the Oakland County Incident Management Team are both attached for your reference. Possible courses of action are to approve or not approve the Oakland County Incident Management Team interlocal agreement.
Councilmember Kurzweil.
Thank you. I move to approve the Oakland County Incident Management Team interlocal agreement.
I'll second that.
Have a motion and a second. City Clerk Deaton, if you'll lead us in a roll call vote.
Bogart,
Yes.
Dilg,
Yes.
Hanson,
Yes.
Dibble,
Yes.
Kurzweil,
Yes.
Mosier,
Yes.
Kennedy.
Yes.
All right, thank you.
Thank you very much,
Thank you.
Chief. Appreciate it. Item number 9 is the PUD for Washington Manor public hearing and preliminary site plan approval.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor and Council. For those of you that don't know me, my name's Hannah Smith. I'm one of the city planners for the city. This is a request for preliminary PUD site plan approval for the redevelopment of the property at 432 Washington Avenue to construct a multiple family senior affordable housing development. We have a less easily viewable copy of the site plan up on the screen, but hopefully everybody has their small copy they can look at too. The property is owned and managed by the South Lyon Housing Commission and is currently home to a 4-building, 16-unit complex. The applicant is proposing to redevelop the site with a 3-story, 53-unit senior living building with a combination of mostly 1-bedroom units, 2 2-bedroom units, as well as a number of community spaces and amenities, including laundry, a salon, gathering space, and outdoor community space. The applicant is here tonight and can give more in-depth explanation of the project or answer specific questions about the development, funding, or other details. I'm going to give some background and talk more about the process and the site plan. So the applicant is proposing to develop the property utilizing the Planned Unit Development Overlay, or PUD. The PUD overlay mechanism allows a more flexible approach to land use development to achieve a higher quality development. There are specific criteria that a proposed project must meet to qualify for the PUD overlay. We reviewed the project against these criteria and found that it meets the standards that should be outlined in the review letter from CIB Planning. For a PUD, the city may grant specific deviations from ordinance standards where it allows for a better, higher quality development. The applicant is proposing some deviations. This is why they're requesting the overlay. The requested deviations are outlined in our report. Just an example, the applicant is requesting a taller building height than what's permitted in the zoning district by the ordinance. Adhering to the ordinance standards would require some units to be below grade, and the applicant has indicated that that's not ideal for senior residents. I'm happy to go more into detail about the deviations or answer specific questions if needed. With the PUD project, there is a legal agreement between the applicant and the city that outlines the terms of the development and any specific ordinance deviations that are granted. The site plan is attached to that agreement as an exhibit. So there are 4 steps in the process for a PUD. The first is that the Planning Commission holds a public hearing and makes a recommendation on the overlay designation and the preliminary site plan. The Planning Commission held a public hearing on November 16th, 2023, and recommended approval of the PUD overlay by finding that the development meets the overlay standards, and also recommended approval of the preliminary site plan to City Council. As noted, the property is owned by the Housing Commission. The developer has presented the site plans to the Housing Commission, who approved the plans and provided their support of the project moving forward. The items for Council's consideration tonight are the PUD overlay designation and the preliminary PUD site plan. The agreement will come separately at a later meeting date for review and approval by Council. There is a draft agreement in your materials for reference, but the finalized draft agreement will come back to Council for approval separately. If the project receives preliminary approval tonight and the agreement is also approved by Council, the project will move on to final site plan, which is reviewed and approved by the Planning Commission. For the overlay designation and the preliminary site plan, possible courses of action include motion to approve, deny, table, or postpone. If City Council agrees with our review letter comments and Planning Commission's recommendation, there are suggested motions provided. Please note that there are 2 separate items that need a motion. The first is the designation or the application of the overlay, and the second is the preliminary site plan. As noted, the applicant is here tonight, and I'm happy to answer any questions you might have.
Thank you. Councilmember Dilk?
I just have a really quick question that I assume is correct, but I couldn't find it anywhere. I assume that there's some kind of elevator or accessible
Yes.
situation.
I
in
believe
this?
they're required to have an elevator.
Yeah, yeah. At least, I just wondered if there was only one, or if you have any idea on that.
I'm not sure if the applicant, the architect, can speak to that.
Good evening. My name is Anthony Piano. I'm with Alliance Architects, 929 East, Lincoln Way East, South Bend, Indiana. Yes, we're currently planning 2 elevators.
Okay.
There could be 1, but at this point, we're in this preliminary stage. We're planning for 2.
Great, thank you.
City Manager, would
Mr. Mayor, I would suggest that if the applicant wishes to make a presentation, he can do that, and after that, you should have a public hearing, open the public hearing, allow public to comment, close the public hearing, and then council members can have deliberation regarding the subject and ask questions of either the applicant or the planner at that time.
Because you got a public hearing on this.
Thank you.
So whether you choose to have the applicant now make a presentation and the public can ask after, or if you want to have the open the public hearing first, that's up to you to decide.
Well, actually, it doesn't show that we were planning to have a public hearing tonight.
Yes.
Yes.
That's on the bottom portion there on number 2. It says a public hearing, review and action of the PUD overlay request, and preliminary site plan. It's also on the agenda as
Oh,
PUD
public
motion
hearing.
and public hearing and preliminary site plan.
Oh, my apologies.
I missed
Yes,
that
okay.
too.
So we must have that.
Okay, so what's the City Attorney Hamame, what would be the proper procedure?
Just
matter if I've always done it. It doesn't really matter as long as you close your public hearing and go into discussion.
Okay, so we'll open it up for public hearing then, Paul?
I would rather
Suggest
have,
that, note the time.
I'd rather have them do the hearing, or make their presentation so that people have something
Okay.
to talk about.
That makes sense. Okay, let's have the presentation first then.
If you have anything that you'd like to say and speak on behalf of your project, if now's the time to do it for the public, and then
Hello, I'm Jason Ostrander. I'm part of the development team. Thank you guys for your time and consideration. Don't really have
The
a...
city clerk's benefit, would you give her your address as well?
Sure. 120 North Leroy Street, Fenton, Michigan, 48430. I don't necessarily have a prepared presentation or delivery. You guys have the site plan in front of you and the narrative. This is a pre-existing development that we're looking to redevelop into 53 affordable units for seniors, designated only for seniors and 100% affordable. We've put some great components that Hannah highlighted in there. All the units will be 100% visitable. The community centers will have access for the salon. We'll have an outdoor seating area that's accessible to the wonderful park that's behind there. Plenty of parking available. Beautiful landscaping. That's pretty much the extent and summary of the project at this point.
Anybody have any questions for the developer? Kurtzwell.
Thank you. Yes, I have a couple of questions.
Sure.
You say that this is dealing with an existing structure.
Yes. So there's 4 buildings right now that have 16 units. So all of those units will come down, and this building that you see here will be built on that property.
And where will the residents go that are in there now?
We will do a relocation program for all the existing residents, and we'll put them up in comparable places or hotels, or it's part of a HUD program, so they get an option where they can stay with family members and get a stipend, or they can go to a comparable place that is no cost to them. That's the same with like the moving, packing, and everything. We have a consultant that comes in and takes care of every aspect of that for every single resident. We do this quite a bit. We just completed a 150-unit, 8-story building with the same thing, 100% senior elderly, and we relocated all 150 and relocated them all back.
Yeah, because when I was reading this, I actually went over and took a look at the area, and that was one of my big concerns was how were these individuals going to be taken care of, and were they going to be humanely relocated and not just stuffed someplace in
Definitely
cheap
not.
housing where, because remember, you're moving them away from friends, you're moving them away from their environment.
Absolutely, especially for elderly residents. It's,
yeah.
It's disruptive for anyone to move.
Mhm.
So, like I said, we have a designated consultant who they'll have that person's cell phone number. They'll do one-on-one consultations with them. We do all the packing, storing, moving, unpacking, and then relocating them back into their new place.
And what's your time frame for completing this project?
Well, that's definitely up in the air because our part of the requirements of this project is we're looking for funding competitively through MISHDA's LIHTC program, and one of the initial steps is to get the site plan approval from the city, and then we go to MISHDA for support.
So it could be a year and a half, could be 2 years?
Absolutely. Yep.
Okay, so these individuals potentially could be displaced for several years.
Well, you actually wouldn't get displaced until after approval. You wouldn't do any of this until after approval, funding. We'd set up with the contractors. So let's just say we're talking about an 18-month construction timeline. That would be the extent that
Minimum,
would be
I think minimum, 18 months. You're talking 3 stories?
3 stories.
You're talking elevators?
Elevators.
Minimum of 18 months, probably closer to 24. 22,
Maybe. Yep,
24, that's
possible.
what I would think. I want to get down on some technical questions.
Sure.
The land is owned by the Housing Commission. So you are coming in as a contractor and you are building this.
Correct.
At the end of the construction, who owns the actual building?
South Lyon Housing Commission.
Okay, South Lyon Housing Commission will. So you're not going to be a landlord, I mean, you're not going to be a tenant on their property.
We'll acquire a ground lease from those guys to operate the building for the period of its affordability.
So there is a lease involved.
There will be.
Okay, and the lease will be between the South Lyon Housing Commission and who?
And the new entity that will build and fund it. So that'll come after MISHDA comes in and decides if we're granted funding on that.
Okay, that's interesting. So what you are telling me then is that as of tonight, you do not have the funding for this project.
We do not.
And what is your estimated cost?
I have to look at my hard construction cost or total development cost?
Yeah, I would look at total development, hard construction, yeah, total development.
15 million, I think.
Hard?
15 million.
That's a lot of money.
Yep.
That's a lot of money.
Yeah,
And how
it should be a wonderful project when it's done.
Well, yeah, I mean, I'm not arguing with the project. I'm looking at the chances of the 15 million, and that 15 million will be funded. How much of it is coming from HUD? All of it?
Well, it's actually, at this point, the expectation is the majority of the funds will come from MISTA in the form of their low-income housing tax credit
Right.
program. Are you familiar with that
That's with
program?
HUD.
It's actually not HUD.
Well,
It's, it federally comes to the state, and then the state holds a competitive program. And then once those funds are granted via the state,
Mhm.
that's when you exchange that for money from either a bank or some other CRA type investor.
So 75% of the money is going to be coming through that vehicle?
It's probably be a higher percentage than that.
80, 85, then where does the balance come from?
We'd probably end up with some sort of permanent note on there from a bank that could support, cash flow from this, because these will have HUD Section 8. So that funding will be used to pay down the mortgage on it.
This is all Section 8.
38 of the 53 are Section 8. 100% is affordable.
Right, right.
Yep.
But it's HUD housing, basically.
It's not technically HUD housing. It would be technically affordable or MISTA housing.
Well, it's semantics, but I think you know where I'm getting at, because I'm trying to find the split in terms of the money, making sure that the money is going to be there, and the more federal arms you have in it, which it sounds like you have several federal arms, state arms on this, your chances of getting the funding are probably pretty good, but your dollar amount is high. Your project that you just finished, what was the dollar value on that?
$30 million.
How long did it take you to get the funding on that?
This one was actually quick because it was a slightly different program. It was through their tax-exempt bond program and not through the LIHTC 9% bond financing. So that one went a little quicker.
Yeah. So as a resident moves into this, I saw the square footage is just around 647 square feet.
For the one bedroom and 936, I believe, for the two bedrooms.
How many two bedrooms do you have in it?
Just two. Just because the one bedrooms are generally more marketable on elderly property.
So they're moving in as singles, or they can move in as a married couple?
Absolutely.
Okay. Because that now comes to my next question, is that, did I read this wrong, where you have 53 units that are going to be constructed,
Yep.
and then there are 53 parking spots? These are open parking spots, or are they going to be?
Open parking spots.
Open parking spots, 53.
That's correct.
So if I move into a unit, let's say half of those units actually have two people living in it, a husband and a wife, or whatever, significant others, where does that extra car go?
Typically, what we've found, like...
I know what you're going to say.
Concentra-
They only drive one car. There's only one car they drive. They're down to one car.
I believe the zoning ordinance for senior housing is one space per apartment. That's what's at minimum required. I think that's correct. So we're providing this, we're not asking for a waiver on that.
No, and that's not the question. I understand everything is to the ordinance, because you wouldn't be here tonight unless everything pretty much was. The question is where do you put those extra cars? You have 53 units. Everybody has a car. Some units are going to have more than one car.
I think initially when it was submitted to the Planning Commission, there was discussion about trying to reduce that parking requirement, because in many senior housing developments, you don't have one-for-one parking per apartment. There's actually less cars than that. But the discussion ended up being, from my recollection, is that this is more of a driving community, and so that the goal was to try to maintain what the zoning ordinance requires, which was one parking spot per apartment for senior housing.
Well, some cars are going to be parking on the street. There's going to be some people parking on the street.
I don't know how many people have cars, do you know, currently at the housing
I'm just saying,
Like,
where
16 right now, I believe we have 12.
So less than like
Yeah, 12
three-quarters,
12 vehicles, yeah.
so like 3/4 per apartment have a car?
because we have snow days. I mean not snow days, but we have snow emergencies. So any overflow that will be coming from this project is going to be parking in the street. That's the point. Christmas, they're going to be parking in the street. Kids are coming over to see their parents. Kids are coming over to see whatever. Parking in the street. And if we have a snow emergency, where do those cars go? That's all I'm saying, has anybody thought that through a little bit? But
And again, this isn't a criticism of the zoning ordinance, but many cities' zoning ordinance for senior housing are usually less than one per apartment. And so we're actually, like, this is actually a little, I don't want to say above average, but there are many municipalities that have like 1/2 or 0.75 parking spaces per apartment. So it's because typically in senior housing, there's less than one car per individual that lives in the building. So there typically is more spaces left over available. That's just from my personal experience in developing and designing senior housing.
well, I can't imagine that somebody 85 years old is going to be moving into this facility. It's probably going to be somebody, what is your age? What's your demographic on your age?
It would be 55 and over.
55 and over. So probably 55, 60, 65, maybe early 70s. Every senior project in this city has additional parking for those senior communities. You can go to Colonial Acres and you'll find extra parking for there. If you go to Lafayette Woods, you'll find extra parking there. You go to Quail Run, you'll find extra parking there. You go to Lexington, up north of the city, and there are little tiny tucked areas where you can park additional parking if, for example, you're having an event or you have an overflow. This is the only project I know in the city, I could be wrong, but that does not have an ability for parking beyond the number of units here. And most of these places have parking for 2 people and they have garages. But, hey, you fit the ordinance. I'm just here to provide debate and discussion on the project, so. But thank you for your time. You've been very helpful.
Any other questions for the developer? Councilmember Kibble.
Could Section 8 have some role in that? Obviously, if you're in Section 8, it's a financial kind of restriction. So, I mean, the idea of not maybe having 2 cars might end up being covered in some of that. The fact that you don't have the funds to be able to have multiple cars. The financial part, okay, so I understand that the Housing Commission will actually be in charge of what's going on. I'm assuming they've already set the rules. Now, there was a time when there was one of the people on the Housing Commission that was trying to, she had a son that was younger and wanted to end up getting them in there. Now, the idea that it's 55 and older, is that a function of the state's rules, or is that a function of the Housing Commission's edict?
It'll be a function of the state's funding for this project. Yep.
Okay,
Which is also currently the nature of it now too. So.
Because when that argument was going on, I could have understood if it was a family with children or something like that that was trying to get in there, but it seems like somebody that's got a physical or mental disability. I thought that the age thing wasn't as hard and as strong as the 55.
Right.
So.
There are HUD programs that do offer the disability aspect. Even as it's currently set up now, that's not a function of the HUD funding.
Okay.
So.
Well, okay, the last thing I wanted to ask, though, was, okay, so that the Housing Commission is in charge of the place. There's a note that's going to be on this structure. Lisa, could you, do you have any insight as to what the financial balance is going to end up being here? Because between whatever it is that the state's input financially into this thing, and the balance being by the residents, I'm assuming. These guys will still have a note on whatever the cost of the construction had been that still needs to be reckoned with. Do you have an idea of how that'll function? Okay.
I know that the Housing Commission signed a contract with the property manager, and I presume that property manager will stay involved in the process.
Because I'm interested in finding out if there's any kind of loopholes that might end up escalating the value that these guys could end up pulling in, as opposed to what the original schedules were and things of that nature, and the economy could end up playing a role in it and stuff. So.
We're definitely going to have to look into all of that. Obviously, you can't take out a mortgage from just any bank as the Housing Commission. And so those are things we're going to have to sort through.
I guess we'll deal with that when it comes up then. Okay. All right. I don't have any problem with moving forward if you guys.
Well, if does anybody else have any questions for the developer? Councilmember Hanson.
Just one quick question. On the four-step process, I was looking over that, and on the second motion, there's a waiver for several different items there. We aren't going to require them to have to go apply for a variance like with the ZBA, are we, Paul? Or is this waiver basically approving the variance? Okay. Just one clarification on that. Thank you.
Any other questions for the developer? We appreciate it.
Thank you.
So we'll open it up for public hearing regarding this development then, Paul?
Yes, I would suggest that one councilor make a motion to open that public hearing and note the time.
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to make a motion to open us up to the public hearing to discuss the PUD development project.
Okay, and we'll do that at 8:41 p.m. Anybody wishing to speak, please come to the microphone, state your name and address.
You generally have to open public hearing by roll call vote.
Oh, my apologies, okay.
Yep.
Let's have the roll call vote. New territory.
Hanson,
Yes.
Bild,
Yes.
Kurzweil,
Yes.
Dibble,
Yes.
Bogart,
Yes.
Ozier,
Yes.
Kennedy.
Yes.
Thank you.
Linda Benson, 438 Washington Manor, and also president of the Housing Commission for South Lyon. I just want you to know that there are 15 apartments and there are only 9 people that have one car. Most of them don't have cars, they don't even drive. And this is a senior housing. So I don't think we have to worry about 10 people having 2 vehicles. I really don't. And the residents have attended the Housing Commission meetings, and they are so excited because we have so many things going wrong. These apartments were built in the late 60s. The piping is... So I really wish you would consider our well-being. And that's what the Housing Commission is for. We want safe and healthy living for seniors. We live on Social Security. There is not one apartment in South Lyon that I could afford to live at. So this will give everybody that lives in South Lyon a place to live and not be dependent on their older children. So it has so many pluses. I really hope that you will consider this project. It'll take a while, but everybody is so confident about being relocated. It's well worth the new apartment building. We will feel so good. I hope I didn't babble on. Thank you so much, and congratulations to the election. Thank you.
Anyone else wishing to speak? Okay, we'll close the public hearing at 8:44. And I'd be looking for a motion and a second for the two motions that have been put before us. Yes.
When the motions were drafted, it was anticipated that you would have concurrently be reviewing the PUD agreement. Since that is not the case, we weren't able to work out all the terms in enough time to bring it concurrent with the PUD plan. I ask that you add that as a condition of approval to the PUD plan, that you review a PUD agreement as one of the conditions, that a PUD agreement be reviewed, assuming that's the route you're going to go.
So you would like to add that at the end of the, would this be on number 6?
Yeah, she's got number 7, approval of PUD overlay designation. I would add number 8, approval of PUD agreement. The ordinance doesn't allow them to go back to planning commission for final site plan approval until that agreement is approved by city council. So the ordinance covers us, but I would prefer to just have it in here so everyone is aware.
Okay, so we're going to add it as number 8 on the second motion then.
Yes.
Approval of the PUD agreement. Thank you very much. Councilmember Hanson.
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to make a motion to approve the application of the planned unit development overlay as outlined by the City of South Lyon zoning ordinance Article XII to the property parcel number 21-30-234-006 based upon the proposed development meeting the minimum planned unit development overlay standards by demonstrating number 1, a complementary mixture of housing types and uses. Number 2, increased availability of much needed affordable housing for low to moderate income senior residents. Number 3, availability of common open space for passive or active recreational use, including 4,500 square feet of fully accessible community space, outdoor patios, and direct access to McCaddy Park and South Lyon walking trails. And number 4, a reduction to traffic and associated community impacts than traditional multiple family housing developments. And finally, number 5, the goals and objectives of the City of South Lyon master plan will be met.
We have a motion and a second. City Clerk Deaton, if you'll lead us in a roll call vote for that motion.
Yes.
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 Yes. Motion passes. You're looking for a motion and a second for the second suggested motion. Councilmember Hanson.
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to make a motion to approve preliminary planned unit development site plan for the Washington Manor, parcel number 21-30-234-006, subject to, number 1, a waiver to allow a density of 35 units per acre. Number 2, a waiver to allow a building height of 3 stories and 37 feet. Number 3, a waiver to permit parking encroachment of 14 feet into the northern green belt along West McCaddy. Number 4, a waiver to allow a front yard encroachment of 10 feet to permit a stairwell at the southeast corner of the building. And number 5, a waiver to permit a dumpster enclosure in the front yard. Number 6, a waiver to permit minimum unit size of 1-bedroom units consisting of 640 square feet. And 7, approval of PUD overlay designation for the property. And number 8,
Approval of the PUD agreement.
approval of the PUD agreement finally.
I'll support.
A motion and a second. City Clerk Deaton, if you'll lead us in a roll call on that.
Dill?
Yes.
Mosier?
Yes.
Hanson?
Yes.
Dibble? Bogart?
Yes.
Kurzweil?
Yes.
Kennedy?
Yes. Motion passes. Councilmember Kibble.
Do we have a timeline about when that number 8 comes up?
Hannah and I will be working with the applicant on that so that we can, I hopefully expect
Moving along. Next item on the agenda is discussion of the budget. Anybody have any questions regarding the budget for this evening?
Mr. Mayor, if I may, I have one comment I'd like to make
Absolutely.
this evening. I'd like to remind council that based on the water and sewer rate plan that was approved in November of 2020, we will be doing a rate increase that will start with the water rates on December 1st. So for water and sewer combined, it'll be approximately 8.6% increase that was approved. And for the ready-to-serve fees will be a 3% increase. And if anyone had any questions on that.
When was the last increase?
We typically are doing them every December of the 10-year plan. So the last time was December 1st of 2022. And at that point, it was an 8.2% increase of the water and sewer rates combined, and then a 3% ready to serve. Mm-hmm.
Questions for Patricia?
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Patricia. We'll open the meeting to public comment. Again, please limit the comments to 2 minutes and state your name and address for the city clerk. Seeing none, we'll close public comment and move on to the manager's report. City Manager Zelnick.
On future agendas coming before council, we will have the Westlake development. We'll also have the OPEB study that'll be coming at your December 11th agenda. And also on the next meeting, we will have a presentation by the Pumpkin Fest. They want to give an update on their event and their activities and the donations that they made to specific organizations as part of all the money that they raised for the event. The cell tower at the high school, the new cell tower at the high school, which was approved at the Planning Commission, has been issued a building permit and will commence construction within the next couple of weeks. The Hagedorn Sanitary Sewer and Road Paving Project, they completed the top coat of asphalt paving within the subdivision and along Washington Street. Still see a lot of barricades that are out here. They still have to do some driveways within the Hagedorn subdivision. They've already laid the base course, but now there's just another 1.5 inches that has to be topped off on perhaps a dozen or so, but they expect to be out here later this week when the temperatures do in fact reach the 40-degree temperatures. And also the Andover Bridge, they've already brought out equipment regarding the move of that existing bridge. They removed the decking just over a week ago, and the rest of the structure within the coming week. They do have to wait for some of the ground to get a little bit harder so they can actually bring the heavy equipment out there, and then we will anticipate the delivery of the bridge. And that's all I have, and be happy to answer any questions that you may have.
Councilmember Hanson.
Really quick, Paul, just had a quick question in regards to the number of complaints for code enforcement on the email that you had sent us on November 17th. There was quite a few permits that hadn't been pulled for like deck construction, that sort of thing, and it appeared that they were all kind of in the same area. Have those permits been pulled yet? And I was just kind of curious what the situation was that maybe brought all those to light.
There most likely was an ordinance enforcement activity going on within the neighborhood. The ordinance officer perhaps saw so many that were actually taking place or was made aware of them perhaps by a resident or someone else. But I'd have to check with him individually on all those permits.
Figured I'd ask. It was just
Okay.
a long list, but yeah.
No problem.
Yeah.
Councilmember Kibble.
I was actually curious about that too. I didn't really know what the circumstances were, but a lot of them were a step going down the back of the house and things of that nature. I don't know. Every time I look at what Safeway is building or is billing us, they're making bank and stuff like that. If the house came and you needed to end up putting a step in 10 years after you ended up moving into the house, seems like maybe we overlooked something in the final of that house.
When usually things like that occur with decks or porches, it's somebody who's doing some activity in the yard, somebody happens to notice something, or they're doing something without a permit. And we obviously within the building department ordinance enforcement want to make sure that the residents are safe. And if they don't have something there and they see a height or delineation or change of something that doesn't work, we're not just trying to enforce something, we're trying to make sure that someone is safe. So if they see something or we're told on something or someone started to construct a bunch of decks within an area, 2 or 3 houses together, and they didn't get permits, we want to make sure they're done correctly and safely. So on those specific instances, I can't really answer that, but I can check with the ordinance officer to try to find out.
And I thought it was something that was actually coming out of the building, not off of a deck. Is that?
It could be. I'd have to refer back because he's talking about November 17th, but I'll have to look at that, so.
Just, I believe the incident that's being referred to here, the bulk of these things were in the new Fieldstone development. So they're all brand-new homes and everything else, so it may have just been somebody didn't finish something off the way that they anticipated.
And it could be, and because there are certain restrictions within the Fieldstone development, you're only allowed to build specific sizes. And if they were there reviewing one, because I know one was supposed to be coming before the Zoning Board of Appeals for a variance, and I think it was withdrawn, and because I believe they sold the building, somebody may have noticed other locations where people were putting in decks or steps or whatever it may be without approval, and that's how they usually find those ones.
Anything else for City Manager Zelnick? All right, we'll move along to council comments. We'll start with Councilmember Kurtzwell this evening.
Well, just wanted to remind everybody that on Saturday, we're going to have some incredible events going on in South Lyon. There's no reason for you to be anyplace else other than South Lyon this Saturday. It's just going to be just a great time. Enough going on for the kids, a lot going on for the adults, and a lot of lights. Additionally, please don't forget to drive through Hidden Creek Subdivision. That's the Christmas sub in the city. We're probably about 60% there with all our lights on. The place looks absolutely gorgeous tonight with all the snow. So stop in and drive through, bring your kids through. And other than that, have a great, great holiday season and look forward to working with our new council member with that, our new mayor, and re-elect and our new mayor pro tem. So we'll have a great 2024 coming up.
Thank you, Councilmember. Councilmember Dilg.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I agree that there should be no other place to be, and I can't believe I'm not going to be here this weekend, but I just wanted to say it looks very exciting. I am going to be out of the country. But I just wanted to say thank you to Dana Johnson and to Jeff Heinonen and everybody else who gets together and helps us to have such great events for our city. It's absolutely wonderful. And again, I can't believe I'm missing it. I want to say thank you for faith in from my co-workers here for the mayor pro tem. Hopefully, I don't have to run any meetings. I'm just kidding. And then I want to thank Linda one more time for work on Housing Commission, for coming up here and letting us know how the residents are feeling, and all your work on it. It's really, really appreciated. And I feel honored to be able to even give a vote that's going to help improve people's lives. And on that, I am absolutely gutted with having to give that vote today. And I would just say that if there's anyone out there who wants to help Haven, there are links all over their site to donate, and I am going to definitely work with some of the organizations that I am involved in to help try to make up some of that money that we will not be able to give them this year. And I just feel bad that we have to make that choice. But that's all. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilmember. Councilmember Hanson.
Just a short little plug, Mr. Mayor. Today is Cyber Monday. Many of our businesses locally do offer full services as far as products that they offer for purchase on their websites. I know Twisted Cork was even running a particular advertisement about their Cyber Monday deal. So just wanted to remind everyone of that, and to continue to shop small, shop local, shop downtown South Lyon. Thank you.
Councilmember Bogert.
I'm excited for this weekend and everything that's happening in regards to all of the holiday celebrations. We have both the holiday spectacular, and we also have the old-fashioned Christmas tree lighting that's being put on by the Carl and Joanne Foundation. It's at 7:30 p.m. at Heinonen Engineering. Before and after the tree lighting, be sure to stop by the barn behind the South Line Bakery. There'll be live music and adult beverages from 5 to 11 p.m. I will be serving drinks after 8. Be sure to stop by and say hi.
Thank you. Councilmember Mosier.
Thank you. Like everyone else, we'll all be here this weekend. It's the kickoff to the holiday season. And if you're really wondering what's going on that weekend, if you go to the Holiday Spectacular Parade's Facebook site, they put together a flyer with the times and locations of a lot of the activities that are going on. And I know this was sent out to the schools too, so in hopes that they can get it out to the parents. So check it out. Come on out. We want to see you all downtown. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilmember Kivel.
I wanted to pass along a former city council member, Mary Parisian, had the honor of the Women's Law Association of Michigan gave her the opportunity to be sworn in and admitted to to be able to practice her law in the Supreme Court of the United States. And I just thought that was a really, really cool thing. So I just wanted to pass that along for everybody.
Cool.
I'm very proud of her.
Thank you, Councilmember. Tonight, I want to recognize former Mayor Dan Pelchat for his 6 years of service to our city and the community. I mentioned this before, that Dan has worked tirelessly along with the city council to help improve the services provided to the residents and businesses and the overall quality of life in the city of South Lyon. And I know he's looking forward to spending more time with his family. Thanks so very much for all your help, Dan. I also want to congratulate council members Lisa Dilg and Maggie Kurtzwell for winning re-election in the recent election, and congratulations to Thad Bogert as he begins his first term on city council. I want to congratulate Councilmember Lisa Dilg for being selected as the Mayor Pro Tem for the next 2 years. I know she'll do a great job representing the city when called upon to do so. Congratulations, Lisa, and that may mean running a meeting or two. I want to congratulate Frank Fogarty for being selected as the SEMCOG alternate delegate. Frank has always been there representing the city in those SEMCOG sessions, and now will officially be doing so. Thanks as always for your help, Frank. And finally, I want to thank the residents of South Lyon for their support and their votes in the recent election, and I look forward to representing our city as the mayor and accomplishing even more in the coming years. And with that, I'll look for a motion and a second to adjourn. Councilmember Kurtzwell?
Move to adjourn?
I'll second.
Very good. Meeting's adjourned. Thank you.